what I'd like to do first is welcome Senator the Honourable Concetta Fierravanti Wells, who's going to open the conference on behalf of the Australian government. The Senator has a legal background. I was reading her CV the other day, and she has a lot of experience advising government at various levels on a range of issues, including natural resources issues. And I was really happy to see this because one of my sort of obsessions in the WASH sector is that we need to deliver services within a really strong institutional framework. And I think that legal background brings a lot of insight into how that can be achieved. The Senator has represented New South Wales in the Senate since 2005, and she's been the Minister for International Development in the Pacific since 2016. So we're really delighted that you could come, and we're really looking forward to hearing from you. So I'll welcome you to the stage.
Well, thank you very, very much, Professor Evans, for your kind introduction. I'd like to start by adding my acknowledgement of country, even though that will happen just a little bit later. Can I also welcome the wider WASH community? The water, of course, we refer to it as WASH, but it's water, sanitation and hygiene. And it's actually an interesting acronym because it actually says what it means. So that's very good for those who don't quite understand a lot of the acronyms in the DFAT space. But thank you so much for joining us here today, and that we have gathered in such numbers for this important conference. Can I thank the International Water Centre, led by Mark Pascoe and Regina Suter, who have done a great job in organising this very important conference. I congratulate all the team that were involved in the organisation. So, I'm delighted, ladies and gentlemen, to be here to open the 2018 WASH Futures Conference here in Brisbane. As the largest water, sanitation and hygiene conference in the Indo-Pacific region, this meeting provides a valuable opportunity to share ideas and innovations towards improved WASH access for all. The growing awareness of the urgent need for better access to water and sanitation in our region and around the world is reflected in the excellent attendance at this conference. Today, 2.1 billion people lack access to safely managed drinking water services, and 4.5 billion people lack safely managed sanitation services. And of course, the impact on children is particularly devastating. Each day, nearly 1,000 children under 5 die from diarrheal diseases due to poor sanitation, poor hygiene and unsafe drinking water. In the long term, however, there is a lot that we can do to change this situation. We welcome the increased global focus on the water-related sustainable development goals, especially Goal 6, that aims to ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for everyone by 2030. We can also see increasing WASH expertise and interest in our region. From an Australian perspective, I'm very proud of the contributions that Australia is making in this area. In 2017-18, we will spend about $106 million in our Water for Development program, mostly in the Indo-Pacific area. And that includes various programs: Civil Society WASH Fund, or contribution to the fund; Water for Women, our flagship program, very much focused on women and girls in the Indo-Pacific; our Australian Water Partnership. We have partnerships with other organisations, including the World Health Organisation, the Pacific Water and Wastewater Association. As I mentioned, our Australian Water Partnership and our high-level panel on water. Of course, hygiene promotion is the most cost-effective health intervention. For every $1 invested in water and sanitation, an average of at least $5 is returned in increased productivity. The world has come to realise that the improvement of WASH outcomes is critical to economic development and poverty reduction. This conference will build on global momentum, supporting sound WASH research that informs more effective development activities. The prominence of water and water-related challenges in the 2017 Foreign Policy White Paper is an acknowledgement of the issue's importance to the Australian government. The White Paper noted that Australia is committed to improving water access, sanitation and hygiene practices across the Indo-Pacific. Prime Minister Turnbull's voice in the United Nations and World Bank high-level panel on water reinforces international calls for the advancement of the water-related sustainable development goals. And can I take the opportunity to acknowledge the World Bank as an important partner for Australia in the work that we do here. Our contribution to the panel has been to lead on 3 key initiatives, focusing on water data, water use efficiency and water innovation. Australia will continue to collaborate with water sector experts, civil society organisations and governments beyond the life of the panel, which concludes this month. Our water expertise will continue to achieve strong development outcomes across the world. We are especially focused on the positive impact that good WASH facilities can have on the lives of women and girls. And through effective WASH programs, we see fewer women and girls walking those long distances each day to collect water for their families. We see fewer babies die as a result of unhygienic maternal health care facilities. And we see fewer girls miss school for want of appropriate menstrual hygiene services. And this is why WASH is a critical component of our development partnerships with governments and NGOs in the Indo-Pacific area. Our various grassroots programs are more effective thanks to our partnerships also with the academic and research community. We need to be constantly learning in this space. Australia is leading the world in the search to improve the quality and impact of WASH programs over the long term. And one research program, The Last Taboo, is one which I particularly wanted to mention. Under our Overseas Development Assistance program, our focus on Pacific Women Shaping Pacific Development, our flagship program, this study will be the first multi-country study of menstrual hygiene in the Pacific. Women and girls in Fiji, Papua New Guinea and the Solomon Islands shared the challenges that they face in managing menstrual hygiene and their hopes for overcoming these barriers. Structured workshops brought together people to turn research findings into results on the ground, real outcomes changing the lives of real people. And for those interested, I understand that there will be a more detailed presentation on women and WASH enterprises in the first thematic session this morning. And just as research supports good policy, so too do we see that innovation is crucial to finding creative solutions for persistent WASH problems. Australia is promoting imaginative solutions through the Water Innovation Engine. The engine identifies water sector innovations through crowdsourcing and targeted searches and finds ways to support the innovations with finance and assistance so they maximise their potential for scale and impact. And so far, the engine has funded 2 water challenges. One aimed at getting water information into the hands of illiterate farmers in developing countries, and another focused on urban sanitation. And by attending this conference, you too are participating in the search for new ways to approach persistent WASH problems. I hope that the winners of the Civil Society Innovation Award and the Students' Big Ideas Award, to be announced tomorrow night, are inspired to continue to think big, as we all should be thinking big, to help achieve achievable WASH solutions. In keeping with the conference theme of collaboration, I am very, very pleased today to announce a new $5 million collaboration between the Australian government and the World Health Organization. This partnership will run for 5 years, from 2018 to 2022, and that its aim is to improve access to sustainable and safe drinking water in both urban and rural areas. Australia and the World Health Organization will collaborate to improve access to safe and sustainable WASH services in healthcare facilities in the Indo-Pacific area and globally through training, advocacy and policy development. And this new collaboration will further embed water safety planning approaches. It will help to achieve the World Health Organization's global vision for every pregnant woman and newborn to receive quality care throughout pregnancy, childbirth and the postnatal period. The Australian government is committed to assisting the World Health Organization to pursue this very important life-saving goal. The Sustainable Development Goals make clear that water sits at the heart of successful development. Without safe water and sanitation, achieving the SDGs by 2030 will not be possible. Australia is committed to being part of this solution, and I am confident that through collaboration and hard work, sustainable solutions to enduring water problems will be found. I would like to conclude by thanking you all and wishing you every success in your work that is improving the lives of millions in our region and beyond. Australia will continue to play its part in leading and supporting efforts to ensure the availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Can I thank you for your very kind attention, and I look forward to reading about your deliberations. All the very, very best. Thank you very much.
So I'm just going to jump onto the Minister and ask a couple of follow-up questions, if I may. Thank you so much. That was a really inspirational start to the conference. I wonder if I could ask you just to say a little bit more. I know part of your portfolio is the Pacific region, and you know, we know the challenges around SDG 6, and indeed all of the SDGs are huge, but do you have some thoughts about the specific challenges and opportunities that you can see from the Australian government's point of view in the Pacific?
Look, I think when you've got the Pacific certainly has challenges, but it also, I think, has opportunities. It is disappointing to see the statistics in terms of the access to safe water has declined, but also some, safe drinking water, basic sanitation. The statistics are not what they should be. But I think when you are dealing with small economies, you do have to look at, dealing with the basic problems. I mean, 7 of the 10 most disaster-prone countries are in the Pacific. So we are seeing the effects of climate events, and so therefore we have to come at this not just from a water and sanitation problem, but we also have to look at it from the compounding issues that come with an area that is regrettably prone to disasters, and that's part of the work that we're doing as part of our framework for resilient and disaster preparedness. A very important component of that are women and girls, and so that's really important. The other thing that we are seeing is how much of the issues in relation to water and sanitation are actually as a consequence of the storm surges that do occur in the Pacific. So as I travel around, for example, in countries I've seen where we've had to adapt, and that's very important. We talk about mitigation, we talk about adaptation. So in the Pacific, we've really had to look at ways that we can ensure that water is accessible, but is accessible in ways that deals with the issues. And I think irrespective of what the views are in relation to climate and the causes of climate change, the reality is that we in the Pacific have to deal with the next disaster. We have to deal with that. We will get another tsunami, we will get another cyclone, we'll get another earthquake. And so that's how we approach it from that perspective. So in terms of, as I've said, our focus on Pacific women shaping Pacific development, some of our other programs, water and sanitation are an integral part of the work that we do. As I mentioned, our annual spend is about $106 million in the wash space, if I can put it that way, and the Pacific, of course, is an integral part. Australia spends about $4 billion per annum on overseas development assistance. 90% of that is spent in the Indo-Pacific. A third of that is actually spent in the Pacific itself. So the Pacific offers us, as I said, challenges, but it also offers us innovative opportunities, and that's part of, we have to look at different ways that we can deal with these problems. So we're up for new ideas. So that's why we're looking forward to some of the outcomes of this conference, and put your thinking caps on for all sorts of different ideas, which we're very, very happy to look at and entertain.
So I can encourage everybody to go to the Pacific session, particularly tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And if I could just ask you one follow-up question more generally on the issue of gender and women and girls. Perhaps just your thoughts on how do you think we're doing in that space? How optimistic do you feel?
Look, I think it's still one of those challenging areas. Having said that, when you do see those, practical things that we do, I went to a village in Papua New Guinea, and just the putting the infrastructure added to a village where there were communal showers and toilets has just made a huge difference. Those communal showers and those communal toilets have meant that not only are the women, and of course the water facilities that go with it, not only are the women saving the time from having to go and cart the water, because it's always the women that inevitably, and the young girls who then miss out at school because they're doing things. And in particular, I think that some of the work that we're doing in terms of helping young girls deal with the menstrual issues is going to make a huge difference to young women. And as a consequence, I'm a strong believer that if you empower a woman, you empower her family, you empower her family, and in turn her community. And you enable her to make her contribution to her society. And we've seen some of the statistics. So in the Women in Space, Australia has, as part of our aid program, our target that 80% of our aid has a gender focus on it. And last year, whilst we didn't quite get to the 80%, we got to 78%. What that's actually meant is that as we've worked with governments in terms of our aid investment plans, which we have aid investment plans or investment or MOUs with different countries in relation to aid, it's actually made people stop and think, well, how can I be a bit more gender focused in what we're doing? So I think putting that marker in has made a difference in terms of how governments, how programs can be a lot more gender focused. And in this case, particularly the water, sanitation and hygiene programs can be a lot more gender focused. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, and thank you for those very optimistic and positive remarks, which I think set us off on a really great cause.
We have to be optimistic, Professor.
I think
we have
do.
to be very, very optimistic. Thank you very, very
Thank
much.
you so
Thanks
much.
a lot. Good luck. Thank you.
You.